All right, what's going on, folks? Let's get this party started. But before we do, I'm sorry, I just started the recording and then I realized I don't have a pen. I better go grab a pen. Can you guys give me a second? All right, let's do this. Sophia Fraz. All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Erasing. Let's get back on top of the whiteboard. Or the glass board, or whatever it is. All right, let's get this party started. I want to talk about Section 8. What are you guys talking about? I don't understand. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's exactly, I mean, you can't get into the PDFs. They're all posted. Boy, no wonder you've been having so much trouble with this course. It doesn't make any sense to you until you read the PDFs. That's exactly what I'm lecturing for. Okay, all right, I'll take a look at tomorrow's homework, but why don't I finish lecturing on median, quartile, and IQR? Cool? All right. So, first of all, we got to talk about the mean, median, and mode. Do you guys remember about mean, median, and mode? All right. The mean, these are all versions of the, oh, sorry. Yeah. You guys don't like that chat volume thing? Okay. How's that? Can you see it now? All right. If I were to ask you to take an average, your first instinct should be to ask me, well, which average are you talking about? The mean, the median, or the mode? This average is probably the one that everyone takes initially. They just think, mean, got it. But the median is actually really helpful as well. The mode is actually really helpful as well. Right. The mean is pretty straightforward. You add them all up, you divide by the number of data points that you have, and that's the mean. Boom, done. Got it? I guess one question that I always have asked of me, and I'm wondering if you guys care about this or not, but why the heck is there 3 of them? Like, what's so great about the median if the mean seems to be one everyone does? Okay. All right, here's one thing I would say. So I'm going to make up some data off the top of my head. All right. Let's say that you've got 10 people here. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? You got 10 people here. And all of these 10 people were geography majors. Okay? Do you guys know what geography is? So say they majored in geography, and I took their average salary, okay? In 1990, I found 10 geography majors who got out of college, and the first year out of college, how much did they make on average, these 10 people, in 1990? And I would say, well, $180,000. What are you guys thinking? You guys are thinking like, dang, I'm going to go major in geology now. I'm going to get out of college and make 180 grand right off the bat. And I would say, no, I'm not lying to you. But check this out. Check this out. No, this is the mean. Check this out. Do you see this person right here? Let's make him a little bit taller than everybody else. Because what happens is, back in the 1990s, someone who got out of college and went straight into working and made lots of money was Michael Jordan. I don't know if you guys even heard of Michael Jordan. Do you guys know who Michael Jordan is? All right. Michael Jordan is a basketball player, and he's a big-time basketball player. Back in the 1990s, when he was playing for the Chicago Bulls, he was making like millions upon millions of dollars, right? And he was a geography major in college, right? So technically, I could include him because he graduated as a geography major in college. Does that make sense? But what happened is, if I didn't include him, then this number would be something like 40. Cool? Say that this person makes like 35, and this person makes like 55, and then over here is like 40, 41, and I'm talking about $1,000. You know what I mean? But then I add Michael Jordan in here, who makes like, let's make it like $7,000, $7 million, and that's not even close. Let's make it like $700 million. I don't know. Michael Jordan makes some ridiculous amount of money. What happens is it takes this data right here and skews it to the side. You see what I mean? It pulls all this data straight out crazy. So that's what happens to the mean when you have these things called outliers in your data. When you add crazy amounts of numbers here, or maybe you add somebody who's like a debt to the society, so not only do they make this much money, they're like $4 million in debt. Then all of your data is going to get skewed down. You know what I mean? And it's funny because back in 1990, college kids really got tricked by this. They looked at this and they'd be like, wow, I'm going to go major in geography. Well, you're not going to make that much money. You're not even going to make that original average I told you. You're going to make somewhere around here. Okay. So what did adding an outlier do to the mean? It increased it. It increased it by a lot. It messed it up. Got it? Okay. Now, check this out. The median is the guy in the middle, right? So right now, if I didn't add Michael Jordan, then the person in the middle would be here. Are we cool? Now, I add Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan is way out here. He's like way out here. But what does that do to the person in the middle? Well, technically the person in the middle is between these two guys. It moves it to the right, but only a little bit. It's technically actually halfway between here and here, so you average the two over here. So instead of 40, it's $40.5 thousand a year. You see, adding crazy big numbers on that side didn't move the median very much. All right, how is the median the middle number? Any different than the mean, the average, which seems to be always in the middle? Well, I guess it's kind of like do you see the big advantage here that this would have, the median would have, is it accounts for, it doesn't get as easily swayed by the outliers way over there or way on this side. it doesn't get as easily moved. Because all it did was, hey, all the median said was, hey, there's another person to the right of me, so I'm going to move just a little bit down over here. That means I have more people on that side. I have even amount of people on one side of me as the other. Whereas, and even if this guy made $700 billion or whatever, it doesn't move this thing very much because all it says is, oh, there's another person on that side. Does that make sense? All right, well, that is the big advantage to me in my brain as far as the median goes. That's the best picture or story I could come up with. Is to say, hey, you want to be a geography major who makes $180,000 right out of college? Well, first of all, be prepared to be disappointed, or second of all, learn basketball. Right? Okay, that's the mean, median, and mode. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be concentrating on the median. And I think that what we're going to do is we're going to do this thing called like the median, and then there's the median of the median. It's talking about graphs, and I think that in the past these are called box and whisker graphs. To be honest with you, between you and me, I've always hated these things. It feels like it's a topic that is really important to people who want to be statisticians. And I've never really found a really great use for them. I mean, maybe as a teacher, when I look at students' test scores, I like seeing the box and whisker graphs immediately because it immediately tells you these really important pieces of information. But it's not. Yeah, statistics is very important for economics. So maybe for me as a scientist, I'm not really that hot on these. But anyway, I'm doing a horrible job at motivating you to say, hey, I really want to learn this stuff, right? Because you guys are like, if it's boring to you, then that doesn't sound very fun to me. But I think it's important. It just depends on what you're going to go into. Anyway, let's stop me trying to discourage you from actually learning this stuff, and let's talk about what it is. All right. So I've got some data here, and they gave me a bunch of data, and I'm going to write it out on the screen, and it's actually straight off the PDF, so you can write it down from there if you want. 5, 7, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15, oops, that's not 15, 15, 16, 17, 18, you can't see that anymore, huh? Oh, no, maybe you can. 20, 21, and 37. 20, 21, and 37. All right, here we go. All right. What's the median of this thing? Well, how many numbers are in here? How many numbers are in this list? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There's 15. So that tells me that I'm looking for maybe the 8th number, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Because on the 8th number, there's 7 numbers on the left and 7 numbers on the right. Oh, you're talking about, okay, wait, this is a 16. This is a 17. Okay. It comes from this list that I have up here. All right. Sorry. I'm sorry it's hard to see. All right. So this number right here, here's your median. Medians are pretty easy to find if you have an odd number of numbers, but I got a question for you. Are you guys cool with finding, what happens if you guys have an even number of numbers? Right, Jenna's got it already. Right, exactly. When you have an even number of numbers, like let's say if you have 4 numbers, like 1, 2, 3, and 4, then the median is actually these 2 numbers you find the average of that. So you basically just go through find the mean of the most middle two numbers. All right, that's nothing surprising or crazy for anybody. All right, so check this out. This median splits our data in half. And it splits our data in half again. We cool? So, this is the lower half of the data, and this is the upper half. I'm going to just call it LH and UH. So, my question is, hold on a minute. The middle, between the lower and middle quartiles. All right, here we go. The median of the lower. The data is. Okay. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to find the median of this group of numbers. What is the median of this? So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 numbers. So I'm thinking 10. Is it 10? Yeah. 10. This is called the lower quartile. And if we want to find the median of this, that would be 18, yeah? This is the upper quartile. This means that 25% of all of these numbers falls below this number. And 25% above, or 25% of the numbers falls above this number. That's it. Yeah, a quartile, I mean, that kind of makes sense, right? A quartile is just half of the half. Well, if you have half and you take half of a half, that's a quarter. There. Yeah, it's a quarter. All right. So sometimes we call this Q1, as in quartile 1. This is the upper quartile, also known as Q3, as in quartile 3. And then the median itself is Q2. Are we cool? So what is the interquartile range? I'll tell you what the interquartile range. It's the IQR. That's what I'm asking. What is the interquartile range? What that is it's Q3 minus Q2 or Q1. And that means I want to find the 2 quarters that are in the middle. I basically want to find what is the middle part of my data. Here's your IQR. So it's 8, exactly. It's 18 minus 10, which is 8. Are we cool? Let's see, all right. And that's it. That's literally what you do for this stuff. And then after this, I'm going to have to teach you how to do box plots. But that was chapter 4 right there. Or chapter 1, section 4. So you have the median, which we discussed its importance. We have the lower half and the upper half, and then we have half of the lower half, or the median of the lower half, which is Q1. And we have the median of our Q3, the upper half, and then so we basically have all the pieces of information that we need. Am I going to upload Friday's archives? Yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot. This has been the craziest, one of the craziest weekends of my life. I'm sorry that, I'll be honest with you, man, things are getting kind of stressful for me. I'm sorry that I have to, dump that on you guys. But anyway, let's do one more of these. And this may or may not be in your homework, I'm not sure. You guys ready? Okay. I'm going to list out some data. 102, 104, 105, 107, 107, 107, and 109. So 102, 104, 105, 3 107s, and a 109. Cool. What's the mean? Or what is the median? The median is, how many numbers are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, that's nice. So this is the median right here. Q2 is equal to 107. Cool? So what is the Q1? Is the lower half. Q1 is equal to 104. Jenna, I'll check that out in just a second. Let me just finish this example, and then maybe I'll leave box and whiskers till next time. This is the upper half, and Q3 is equal to 107. So what is the middle? Oh yeah, that's exactly where you can find it. All right, what's the middle of these things? All right, that's 3. Perfect. So the IQR, the inner quartile range, is 3. So believe it or not, all of this information is really helpful, and it tells you a lot about what's going on with this data. Like, for example, why is this important? That's a good question. Okay. So, for example, say that we have, let's see. I'm just gonna make some stuff up, okay? I'm gonna make up a bunch of stuff. All right. So, say that we have a class of like 9 people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I'm gonna put their ages, okay? And probably some of these ages are going to be astronomically high. Okay? Let's go with 1, 3, 5, 7, 14, 21, 23, and 90. All right, cool. I don't know. I just made up a bunch of stuff. Okay. So let's find all this information, okay? The median of this is 1, 2, 3, 4, here, 7. The lower quartile is is between 3 and 1, so that's Q1 is equal to 2. The upper quartile is between the ages of 21. Actually, you know what? Let's change these numbers a little bit. Let's make it like 54 and 55. So the quartile 3 is equal to the quartile 3 is equal to 53, the age 53. Are we cool with that? So, well, I'm sorry. Is equal to 54 and a half. You're right. I apologize. Yeah, you're right. It's just the between part between 54 and 55. I don't know. My brain's going somewhere else today. Okay, so check this out. What this is telling you is it's actually saying that the data is actually kind of skewed. If I told you just 3 numbers and I said, well, the middle is here, okay? And the lower part is here, right? Because there's 2, and here's 7. And the upper part is 54 and a half, right here. This is kind of saying, oh, okay, if I didn't tell you any of these numbers up on top, but I just told you these 3 numbers on the bottom, I said 2, 7, and 54 and a half. If I just told you, hey, here's the data. Your first quartile is 2, your second quartile, which is the median, is 7, and your last quartile is 54.5. Immediately, you can tell me without even knowing the numbers, you can tell me that there must be more people in this list that are really, really old compared to the rest of the people, right? Like, you don't even need to look at this data over here to realize that there must be some people over here that are really old compared to this. And you can just look at this little plot and say, oh, that's it, immediately. It gives you um, an immediate feedback on the characteristics of how this thing is kind of laid out, right? And so that's really good. And that's what statisticians love doing is they like taking data and making graphs out of it so they can read it and immediately pick up on some of the information. Oh, I see. The age of this people inside of this group is kind of skewed a little bit that way. This is the whole point of these box and whisker graphs. You guys are asking me, why the hell should I care? Well, I thought the graph was just to annoy people in statistics class and never actually, yeah. Well, I'll be honest with you. Besides high school, I never actually did this in, like in college and whatnot. So I'm guessing that this is my best guess, but it seems like a really good solution. And I think that basically to add the box and whisker graphs, all you got to do is add the lowest number, which is 1, and add the highest number. Actually, the lowest number would be closer to the 2, so it'd be like here, 1. And add the highest number, which is like 90. There, here's a box and a whisker graph. You know where I've seen this a lot is in my math courses, when I take math courses, okay? The teacher would say things like, okay, the median of the class, we would all take a test score. And the teacher would say, okay, the median of the class was a 70, okay? And the lower first quartile was a 60. And the second quartile was a 72. What does that tell you? Okay, pretend you take a test, and I'm only going to tell you 3 numbers, and now you're going to have to tell me about what the class did. The median was a 70%. The first quartile was a 60%. The third quartile was a 73%. Okay? And then maybe the highest score was like a 90, and the lowest score was like a 42. All right, I'm just making stuff up. What are your thoughts? If your teacher came back and told you this. Oh no, this is a 42. But yeah, all right. I would say this. No, you can't say most people got, these ones. There are the same amount of people that got these scores than on these scores. Right? But I would say this. That on the right-hand side, these scores over here are kind of probably bunched together. Whereas these ones over here are kind of probably spread apart more. You see what I mean? These scores right here, they kind of got bunched together over here. They probably, and then this part right here, this is like the genius in the class. And there's probably only one of them because there had to have been like maybe 3 over here and 3 over here. Does that make sense? Well, no, I mean, here, does this make sense to you guys? As far as like this box and whisker, they only gave us, a certain amount of numbers, and immediately we can tell, you know what? I feel like that test is way too hard. Because it seems to me that even though you have one person who got an A, and that your average is a 70, most of your students, 3/4 of your students got below a 73. And only 1/4 of your students got above a 73. See? So then you say, well, okay, this marks off, there's the same amount of people over here as there are here. Let's say there's 11 people here and 11 people on this side, okay? And then, because this is the median, right? This is the middle. And then what we say is, okay, now of this 11, there are actually only 5 people who got here and 5 people who got here. Right? No, I say 5 because the 73 is the middle number, right? So 5 people who got exactly below 73, but above 70, and 5 people that got above a 73, but not exactly 70. So I'm not including this person over here. And then the same goes over here. There's like 5 over here and 5 over here. So 75% of your class did below a 73. That's not very good. I would want 75% of my class to do below a 90 or something like that. You know what I mean? This tells me that this test is actually too hard because only 1/4 of your class got above a 73. Only 1/4 of your class got above an average C. Everybody else kind of sucked at it. So it's saying, oh, the test is really hard, right? There was only, out of the 20 people in this class, or 22 people in this class, only 5 of them scored above a C, which is not even to say that they all passed. I mean, not got like a B or an A. I can guarantee you that one person got an A, but I can't tell you that even these 5 people, maybe all of them were like at a 74 and a 74 and a 74 and a 75 and a 76. You know what I mean? And then when you look at this data, you can immediately say, this test looks like it's way too hard. Bradley, does it make sense to you? I'm trying to think of a good example. All right, I'm trying to think of one of the, is 3 times bigger. Oh, okay. You're saying how are there equal parts? Like how is there 5 here and 5 here and 5 here and 5 here? Is that what you're saying? All right, I'm going to write out some pretend data. Okay? I'm going to write out it. Let's change these to 2 because I don't want to write out that much data. So there's 2 people here, 2 people here, 2 people here, and 2 people here. Okay? Let's say that one person got a 42. One person got a 59. One person got a 61. One person got a 79. One person got a, no, not 79, sorry, 69. One person got a 71. One person got a 72. Okay, 42, 59, 61. Okay, 71, 72. Another person got a 74, and another person got a 90. These are the scores that someone got in a test. All right? Would you say this class did very well on this test? Would you say that maybe the teacher was being too much of a jerk? And you guys obviously don't know any teachers that are like that, but I'm just saying. Would you say that this teacher was being way too big of a jerk by giving the class this score? Because it looks to me that out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 students in the class, almost all of them, besides one really smart student, got below, got below a B. They didn't even get halfway to a C. Right? What would you say? I don't know. What's your thoughts on that? Well, yeah, I agree. I'd say this test is too hard. Now, instead of looking at this data, all right, and data can be, like this was easy because this is only 8 different points. But what happens if I had 800 students? It's hard to get a feel for how that data kind of looks. It's hard to get a feel for this kind of thing, right? What if there were like 800 points, the graph spread out all over the place? It's hard to get an idea of what's going on with this thing. So when we make graphs like this, it helps us get a feel for how these numbers are kind of related to each other. And what this is saying is 4 people got below a 70. See? These 4 people. 4 people got above a 70. 2 people got below a 60. 2 people got above a 60 but below a 70. 2 people got above a 70 but below 73. And 2 people got above the 74. So I broke it up into it's 4 different pieces, and these numbers that are in the middle over here are here's my 70, this one right here is 60, and this one right here is 73, right? And then what I'm saying here is like, obviously this must have been too hard of a test because it's not necessarily even very evenly distributed. It looks like this gap right here, 2 people fell within this bucket right here. That's not very good. What I'd like to see is that there's even size of these little bars on each side. I'd like to see that. That would be better. In fact, in a perfect world, I would like to see all of these pieces to be about the same size. And preferably, maybe this number to be 75. That's what I would like to see in a perfect world. That means I've given you a fair test. Does that make sense? Yeah, Bradley, turn on your mic. I got to start physics class now, but turn on your mic. And you want me to take a look at the? You want me?
Okay.
You want me to take a look at the tomorrow's homework with the graphs or something like that? They're not coming out.
Yeah, the PDFs aren't showing on the top ones.
All right, I'll make sure to post either the link to the PDF or actually work on the graphs. Bradley, what's the question?
So, do you see how there's 2 quartiles on each side?
On each side of 70.
Like on each side of 70? Yeah.
Yes.
How is one, if they're both split 50-50, how is one 75 and the other is 25?
How is one what 75?
I remember you saying that one side has 70.
Oh, okay. What I'm saying here is that, like, say there's 8 students. This represents 25% of the students. This doesn't represent, this represents 25% of the students because there's 2 over here. This represents 25% of the students, and this is 25% of the students. And then what I say is, well, I wonder how many students got below a 73, which is pretty bad of a score on a test if you think about it. Well,
That's only 50% on that side.
there's 75% because this is 25, 25, and 25.
Wait, but you said below a 70. If it's below a 70, there's only
73.
2 of them. Oh, below a 73.
Yeah, which is a poor score, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, if I told my principal, hey, I gave a test, and they said, oh, awesome, how were the scores? And I said, they're pretty crappy. You want to know why? Because 3/4 of my class, 75% of my class, didn't even score a 75%. Give me a second. I got a phone call coming in.
Alright. Okay, I get that. I thought you meant like 70 people
Yeah.
got 70%. There was 75% people that got
Okay, I'm calling her. I'm
below 70.
Yeah. Well, give me your number now then. 808. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. What's up?
I got it. I thought you said 70. So when I saw that there was 2 like quartiles
No.
below 70, I got kind of confused. That
It's
there was,
70.
they
I asked
75,
how
but
many got below a 73, which is pretty crappy.
73. Okay.
So, like, ideally, I would like to see, ideally, I would like my middle number to be about a 75. If I were to give a test in a hypothetical situation, I want to see my middle number to be a 75. But I want to see my third quartile to be about an 80. Or maybe not even a 90. I'd like to see a 90. Because that means a third of my class, that means a quarter of my class got an A. A quarter of my class got a B. A quarter of my class got a C. And then the rest of the class got a D or an F. That tells me I'm kind of in the middle. That means I'm not too hard and I'm not too easy. But if you tell me this, then I would say, no, you're too hard. You're a jerk of a teacher because you're too hard. And only one student actually passed your if you're considering like a B to be a passing grade, only one student actually passed your test. Does that make sense? All right. I thought I gave you two attempts. 2 attempts for your thing, your test coming up and everything. I got to make some phone calls and I got to teach physics. So I'll talk to you later. Okay. Goodbye.